In just one bottle of plastic water, there are over 240,000 plastic particles. 240,000. And every time you drink water out of one of these plastic bottles, you're ingesting those 240,000 plastic particles. I'm a nutrition coach, and I've always been interested in learning about the current trends and research and literature about wellness and health and fitness. And one day I came across one of my favorite podcasts, the Huberman podcast. And in this, he was doing a deep dive research into the far-reaching effects of microplastics. And I had heard of microplastics before, but it wasn't until this moment that I truly started becoming very curious about just how concerned we should be about these microplastics that are simply just everywhere. And it got me thinking, what are these microplastics doing inside of our body? How are they impacting our systems? And so I dug deep, and the more I dug, the more alarming it became. Microplastics have been shown in all kinds of tissues inside of our body, in placentas, in cardiac tissue, in our digestive tract, and even our brain. And what this actually means is that these microplastics can cross the blood-brain barrier, which is very concerning. And it's not just short-term exposure. Research has shown that these microplastics inside of our body are actually epigenetic, which means that they're actually altering our DNA structure. And what really hit me is that the more I dug into it, the more I saw that these plastics are everywhere. And what will surprise you is that they're in a lot of places that you wouldn't expect that you're interacting with and consuming and touching in your everyday life, and even in your kitchen and in your home. So I started making small changes. I started with small swaps here and there. It's actually pretty easy and inexpensive to start making some of these simple swaps that can make a big impact in your everyday exposure. And so in this video, I'm going to break down one of the biggest things and best things that you can do right away to decrease the amount of microplastics that you are consuming, and that simply is to stop drinking out of these plastic bottles. So let me start by circling back to that study that I mentioned at the beginning. A single bottle, a liter bottle of water, has been found to have up to 240,000 plastic particles. And when we drink the water from those bottles, we ingest those. And those have been linked to all kinds of problems: widespread chronic inflammation, gut dysbiosis. BPA is a endocrine disruptor, so it's been linked to things like infertility issues, PCOS, endometriosis. And the problem is these microplastics don't just kind of flush through our body, they bioaccumulate. So over time, as we're ingesting more and more and more, we're finding these to kind of sit within the tissues of our body. And we're just kind of now, over the past few years, really starting to get a better understanding of how those are interacting with the cells of our body and the effects of those long term. So with this one simple swap, placing out your plastic water bottle with something like a stainless steel bottle or a ceramic bottle, I've put together a top 100 list of different easy swaps that you can make in your daily life and in your home, and that includes the type of cup that you're using. If you click the link in the show description, it'll take you straight to those recommendations, done the work for you, it's all right there. But I really encourage you to take this one, even if it's this one simple swap, it's going to do a lot for you. And here's a bonus: it's good for the planet. Think about this. Every single piece or particle or molecule of plastic that's ever been created, it still exists on our planet. Think about that. And mostly in the form of waste. And that's actually how it's getting into our bodies, because what happens is it gets into the air, it gets into our water, it gets into the ecosystem. Animals consume it, and then we consume the animals. And that's how this kind of long-term repeated drip exposure is happening. If you're ready to start making some changes and reducing your microplastic exposure, you're in the right place. This channel is going to focus on small, manageable swaps that you can make. Replace Plastic was created really so that we could really educate about just how much we should be thinking about those microplastics and what they might be doing inside of our body and what they're doing to the planet. Check out replaceplastic.com if you would love to learn more like, subscribe. We're going to be sharing all kinds of great information about how you can continue to make changes. Join me on my journey, and we'll replace plastic together.